How did you take that statement that she was going to end your life?
Told her, I go, that's a pretty serious threat.
I'm not going to allow him to take me down. I'm a busy sales professional, and if there's one thing that the court, I hope, looks at is.
But I'll turn first to the petitioner on behalf of Mr. Noah, Mr. Foster.
Yes, good morning again, Your Honor. Preliminarily, I believe the last time the parties were in court that Your Honor instructed them to have all materials submitted by September 3rd. It does look like quite a bit of materials were sent in by the respondent after that deadline given. So I don't know if the court has reviewed those. I would ask the court to strike a lot of those. They also contain declarations that are unsworn, unsigned, and not under penalty of perjury. I'd be asking the court to strike those. If the court has reviewed them, they're really not relevant. I don't think they really add much, but I just wanted to make that record.
So maybe I can ask just preliminarily on this motion, Ms. Gray, there was a lot of information here that it's making sure came in. So I'm going to turn to my clerk. It all says filed the 4th, so came in the 4th. Yes. Okay. All right. And
we did get some stuff from Friday, though, that I just got
today, Friday. Okay. Well, we're going to, and there's also information from September 6th. Mr. Foster, did you file anything Friday?
I don't believe I did.
Okay. Ms. Gray, did you file things on Friday?
I did, and I think that's probably the most important for the court to see, just that there's been continued contact on Kevin Noah's behalf.
Well, wait a second. So Mr. Noah is asking for an order against you, and
Correct.
I ordered everybody to get things in by the 3rd, and you're still filing things, and you're expecting me to look at it from Friday that's just got filed this morning.
I was not served properly. I was not served.
A little late. Let's see, the last time we were in court was August 19th. 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to consider anything filed in violation of the court's order to have it filed by September 3rd. Certainly not information filed Friday that I can't even look at yet. It's not fair to the petitioner, and it's a violation of this court's orders, and there has been sufficient time to respond 3 weeks and 2 weeks to get that information in. And this is so we're going to go forward on what information was before the court by September 3rd. So
I understand. I did attempt to file it, but I did receive an email back from that I could forward to you that said that it was somehow the wrong. I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Of your argument, you can speak all about that. But as to that motion, I am granting the petitioner's motion not to consider anything that's filed from either side after September 3rd. So, Mr. Foster, then, on behalf of your client, there's not an order issued yet. You're asking the court to issue one, and I'll just turn to you for your evidence, witnesses, whatever.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Noah did supply quite a bit of materials upon filing the petitions, various text messages, as well as a statement from himself. Ultimately, Your Honor, the parties dated off and on for about 5 years. They were never married. They never had children together. And it is something they've kind of been breaking up over the last couple of years. Mr. Noah has requested that she stop having contact with him, that she no longer reach out to him. Upon kind of making that official, she's reached out to his ex-wife. She's had numerous text communications with his ex-wife, Amy. I think those were submitted in her materials as well, asking Amy, the ex-wife of Mr. Noah, to be on board with the Takedown Kevin Noah program. And ultimately, ever since breaking up with her, she's threatened to make his life a living hell. And she has been requesting that he continue to maintain some sort of medical insurance on her behalf. He's previously supplied the audio transcript or audio messages of that, with those recordings. We did provide the transcribed version of those as well. And ultimately, she's saying, I'm going to make your life a living hell, keep me on your insurance, and making various threats. He says, what you're trying to do is blackmail, and she ultimately admits to that. He's blocked her from communication as well, and she's turned around and reached out to his brother-in-law, I think texting him over 80 times, calling him numerous times at the wee hours of the morning. She's done that to his son as well. Numerous calls, text messages, claiming that it's frantic and urgent that Mr. Noah reach out to him. She's reached out to his mother, various family members. It is harassing force of conduct that continues. He's asked her to stop this sort of behavior. There's been a false claim that she submitted to L&I. She's threatened to report him to the IRS, to take down his parents as well. All of these are very concerning behaviors that are offensive in nature. There's also text exchange where she has threatened suicide, which is a form of domestic violence. And we've also submitted her criminal history report. It shows, although none are with Mr. Noah, they are very concerning. There are past convictions for domestic violence, malicious mischief, assault. And these have all been very, very troubling for Mr. Noah. He's asked her to stop communication, and she continues, whether it's him or through third parties. And just the nature of the way that, like, numerous 80 text messages to his brother-in-law from, like, I think 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning.
And which exhibits are those?
Upon filing his petition, so I think it's, so within petitioner and then petitioner statement with exhibits, it's consists of 26 pages.
All right, so that's the, all right, here it is. Where'd it go?
And
Okay, so your client statement from August 7th, and then the attachments.
correct. So a lot of the information that he provided well previously. And a lot of those various forms, if you scroll down, there's some of them are from her, and then some have no caller ID, or they're through a kind of a third-party software whereby you can send a text communication or a phone and kind of disguise your number as well. There's text messages showing it's a different number than what her regular number is. So she's using third-party software. She's using essentially third party. She's trying to get to him. She's continuing to harass him. So he is requesting that the court issue a no contact order for a 5-year period. Thank you.
And so the information, trying to see, I've got kind of March is, I have 3 transcribed. Are they text messages that are transcribed, or cell phone recording?
So I
And
believe
those
it
are
was
all in March?
yeah, that was an audio recording from, I believe, recorded from his cell phone.
Okay.
And I think they're labeled as A, B, and C.
And then the statement of your client from August 7th with all the attachments of screenshots, I guess I'll call them, of text messaging back and forth. Some of them, it's hard to tell when this happened. Some have dates. Can you help me with that? Are these things recent in 2024?
There are some older ones. You'll notice that the various calls are from most recently, as of going into June and July, and numerous various calls in July of this year.
And Captain Crazy, who's that?
That is what Mr. Noah has labeled as Jen. So
Okay. So there's Jen Gray, there's unknown, there's no caller ID, and then Captain Crazy. All right. These are things received throughout July. And then let's try to.
Right there is when she.
you can't see what we're necessarily looking at. So
So, Mr. Foster, your client came into the court August 9th. I think this was filed. So, why then? We've got things going all the way back to March of 2024. What caused him? Was there something in particular that caused him to come into the court on August 9th?
Your Honor, it's continuing behavior, and he does own and operate a haunted house in the Thurston County area, and it's anticipated that that's going to be opening here at the end of the month. And he has concerns that Miss Gray is going to attempt to sabotage that business operation as well.
And why does he believe that? Maybe you can point me to some of these exhibits as to why that is the concern.
Well, she has reported to L&I and made a claim that she had worked there at one point, and Mr. Noah denies that. There's been, I think if you look at the text messages, I believe he has shown that she submitted a Google review of the business, kind of disparaging the business as well. There's a text exchange where she is guaranteeing that he's going to have a decline in revenue. And let's see if I can find, it looks like those text messages are from July 11th. And trying to see if I can.
Okay, there it is. Two texts from July 11th.
Yes.
Right.
So the middle one on the bottom section, and it says, has the 7-8 guarantee a 20% decline in revenue. You'll have zero clue as to what's happening of some sort.
Has there been, does he attribute any of this, as you said, quote unquote, sabotage of his business to Ms. Gray in the past or recent past?
Well, I mean, she's threatening to take down his business. She's filed an L&I claim. Has there been anything in years past with the business? I'm not sure. I don't know. But in terms of this text message directly to him, as well as the text message to his ex-wife, Amy, she has threatened that she's asked Amy to get on board of the Kevin Noah takedown program. So she's, and that was submitted, I believe, by both parties. I mean, she's attempting to sabotage him, sabotage his business, and threaten to take him down. She's admitted that she is attempting to blackmail him. And the other, I mean, she is in various text exchange, she's also threatened suicide. That itself is a form of domestic violence.
And before the 9th, when your client came to the court, contact with Ms. Gray. Now he's asked her to stop doing this, but this kind of, from his point of view, when did he put a strong end to it?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and speak to that?
Hello, Your Honor. So after the initial date about 2 days later, I got the call from L&I asking about Jennifer and an L&I claim. And so as part of her being upset and doing whatever, what she thinks she's going to do, I decide, at that point, that's when I'd made the choice. I better get an attorney to help, because this is going to potentially go beyond this. And I would say back at the end of May, June, it was kind of like on my end officially done. And then in July, when she texted me about 80 texts, 40, and this is all between 11 and 3 a.m. texting, and then I didn't respond. So then she reached out to my brother-in-law, my son, and my ex-wife, and so she's trying to get everybody to jump on board to just to, like, I don't know, become against me and do awful things. I actually have one of the luckiest people that have a good rapport relationship with my ex-wife, as far as everything that goes on, and we get along just fine. And she's trying to tarnish that. And I just don't understand why.
So how did you tell Ms. Gray that to stop in May, June? Mr. Foster, your connection is frozen, so we're not hearing you right now. So we're just gonna pause. Why is this-
They're still cutting out.
Okay, now you're back. So I asked your client, around May or June, Mr. No, you say that, can you describe to me how you told Ms. Gray just to stop contacting you?
In July, it was through a text, and then even prior to that, there's multiple texts that I've submitted of please stop contacting me, and then she's offered, come out, it's just a cycle. And so she's like, she'll apologize to me and say I'm good, we're good, and we had kind of a nice, not even a fallout. And at the end of May, she came over and got her stuff. I even took her to her storage facility, helped her out, and she's, I thought things were going to end on kind of a good note in a sense. And then it just, all of a sudden, it just flared up. And then if something happens and I'm going to commit suicide. And so it's something I've been trying to get out of. I'm like just trapped in. And then after I got the attorney, Mr. Foster, then the records came up of her past history. And I did have a declaration from her last boyfriend that she assaulted, and she has continued to try to contact him. And then
I'm more concerned about what's happened with you. So I understand that that's been filed. It's not really that pertinent to this at all. So, so was there any relationship, any intimacy between, May when it all sparked up again in July?
No, nothing since May.
All right. So you helped her move all her things wherever she wanted them, and then thought it was done. And then July, you start receiving information without contacting her.
Correct.
All right. Can you talk to me about this L&I claim and why you believe it's false? What's that about? When did that happen?
That happened on, I think it was like the 11th or 12th that the L&I called me and said that Jen filed a back claim that she injured her back as an employee of me, and I have no employees.
Okay. And when was that? You said the 11th or 12th of what month?
Of August. It was like 2 or 3
Okay.
days after the 9th.
All right. And so you're dealing with that L&I claim now?
Yeah, she's looking into it, and then they were going to get back to me, and I haven't heard anything since.
And then you say there was a threat to your parents from Ms. Gray about reporting to the IRS? What's that you know?
A lot of that has to tie in with medical insurance. She has been blackmailing me for over a year about keeping her on insurance, and she's gonna turn me into the IRS, which I don't understand why. I'm up to date on my taxes, and I have no idea what my parents have to do with it, but there's been multiple threats of just, I'm gonna do this, come to my work. That's on one of those A, B, and C videos, make my life a living hell, and just awful stuff. And I'm just, and there's just so many things on text that are just awful texts that are, obviously inappropriate to say, but, and I'm
So
just, I've been
this
trying.
relation, yeah, so you ended this relationship, you say in August, there was no other intimacy, no other go back and forth after August of last year?
No, it'd be May of this year.
May, okay, got that. All right. And then since then, in July, you received, say, about 80 texts in the wee hours in the morning.
Yeah.
And then when you didn't respond, your ex-wife, your son, and your brother started receiving texts from Ms. Gray.
Correct. There are some texts in June that she was texting me, and I did respond to her, that inviting me over, like, I've got dinner, come, and I'll see you at 10, just all these assumptions. And I responded like, hey, I'm not interested, leave me alone. And so I think at the end of June was when I officially have not responded to anything.
Okay. But since May, you've said not interested and tried to get her belongings to her and successfully did that.
Correct.
Can you help me understand this whole issue about the insurance coverage? Why is that a bone of contention?
Because I have really good insurance through the company I work at, and we made an agreement that I would cover her through the end of 23. And then I said, if you just be, I don't know, kosher with everything and part ways and move forward, it'll be okay. And so she threatened to blackmail me, and I'm going to come down to your work if you take me off. And then she threatened she's going to end my life if I take her off insurance, and all these threats have been around this insurance.
How did you take that statement that she was going to end your life? What did you think that meant?
I mean, in the recording, I just told her, I go, that's a pretty serious threat. And she said, yeah, it is.
What did you think it meant? What did you take it to mean?
I don't know, with the stuff I've seen with her, the threats of the suicide, like, I don't know what she's capable of. And Jen has a serious drinking problem. It is the fuel that's added to all these occasions. That's why all these texts are like 11 to 3 a.m. And, and I've got everybody, I've been asking how to help her to a point, and
Oh, now you froze up again. The connection froze up again. Can you hand me the paperwork? Give me it all when we start hearings, and then I'll have it. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, you're still frozen here. Yeah, the connection, Mr. Foster, I don't know if he can hear us, is still frozen.
I apologize. Are you there?
Ah, we're back. Okay.
I-
So we'll keep soldiering on. So, Mr. Noah, what did you think that statement to end your life meant? What did you think?
I think it's a way for her to scare me and put fear that she's capable of doing anything. And based off of
Did it
what
work? Did it put you in
Huh?
fear? Did that work? Did it put you in fear?
well, yeah, I was afraid, and but I have no explanation why, that was in a time where, I have seen her since she said that, so that's hard to say what the I, I'm just now I'm more afraid of what she can do now that if this happens to where I don't know, when I come out of the house and open the garage, I kind of look outside. My kids were a little nervous after the ninth, because she said, I'm going to threaten, I'm going to take you down. And so 2 days after our initial hearing, the first thing I get's a call from LNI, just causing more problems for myself.
Okay. All right. Mr. Foster, anything else? I think I've asked the questions I want to ask at this point. Anything else on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and so then I will hear from Ms. Gray, and then Ms. Gray, Mr. Foster will have an opportunity to ask questions as well on behalf of his client. So, Ms. Gray, your response to this request for a restraining order, anti-harassment order.
I mean, I clearly do not want a protection order against myself. But if the court has to, like, I would like one and not retaliate. Like, I just feel like everything up until, I'm sorry, I'm nervous and I'm upset. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I have a lot of notes. I do not want to leave this court without a protection order too. If you,
Well, this is only about the
need one.
it's
Pardon me?
only his request. So
Pardon me?
that's before the court. Mr. Noah's request is the only case before the court, and that's what I'm trying to determine.
Oh, I can't ask one for, I'm not able to ask. for
The
one.
only, you sure can, but not today. That is not before the court. So
Well,
you can certainly tell me what you think I should do or not do.
well,
And that's what I'm
well,
hoping
then
to hear from you.
Okay, well, then I would like it dropped so I can ask for a protection order myself. Everything that he has said is half truths and BS and just snippets, his little clips of nonsense. I mean, the things that he's provided to the courts have zero dates. I know that I inundated the court with things, but they all are timestamped. They're all real. He has reached out my, declarations that I provided to the courts that I did get on time. My lengthy declaration. I just wanted to get it all in so there's history. My boss, my previous boss, he's saying that I'm reaching out to people and I'm being, doing things that are, reaching out to his brother-in-law, reaching out to his son. He's reaching out to a previous employer who is a professional reference. It's kind of a big deal. It's someone that I can use if I love my job, my current job. My current boss loves me. I'm doing well.
So you did file some declarations. Let me help direct you here. And I don't know who these people are. You've got
Todd Weiss is a former employer. In January of 2024, this year, Kevin took him to lunch. And because I've maintained a relationship with Todd, it's a professional situation, networking, whatever. He's constantly trying to fill roles, and I was a great employee. And
okay. So let me ask you then. So what I hear from, if you can answer some of this, what I hear from Mr. Noah and what we've heard today is that sometime in May, he believes that he put a firm stop to this, that there was some assistance in getting property back and forth. And then in July, he receives a lot of texts. His brother, his son, his ex-wife do too. So any comment on that testimony?
1000%. I'm embarrassed by my texts. Um, uh, there's been continued contact that I don't have documentation because I am a sales professional. I work, I have kids. I'm doing well. I didn't have time to prepare very well because I was traveling for work and I'm just getting out of look at my LinkedIn profile. I have a women in dentistry thing. Like I have a lot going on. I'm not sitting at home recording things and whatever. Maybe I'm emotional because I'm spread thin.
Well, tell me
Kevin,
about the contacts that you wanted to tell me. I mean, you can testify to that. Tell me what you know.
contacts. Oh, there's a lot of
Is that-
contacts. He has reached out to my friend via LinkedIn. He's not even on LinkedIn. He has 6 contacts. I have like 8,000 because I use
So is
LinkedIn.
that recently or what happened there and why is that?
I don't know why, but I get contact. I don't have time to dig into it or look into it. I don't care, but it feels like a poke. It feels like I just get constant pokes. I spoke with my girlfriend from Scottsdale, a best friend, whatever. Like I don't talk to her all day, every day, but Kevin's been sharing pictures with her and, sending like inappropriate sexual blah, blah, blah. She didn't want to get involved because she's honestly scared of him too.
So those statements, you say you're not proud of the statements you made in some of those
I'm not proud of
exhibits
my text.
I had to review.
Yeah.
And so, but there were some statements in there that we've talked about here about ending his life, making his life a living hell,
I would like
joining
to,
the project,
Yeah.
the takedown program. Can you tell me
I would love to.
anything, your response to that?
I loved Kevin. I loved him dearly and I trusted him. And I have, clearly his attorney provided my criminal background. I've had a long history of domestic violence and abuse, and I am a survivor. And I thought Kevin was different. And so during our 7-year relationship, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to support his business. I wanted to whatever. But the last 2 years, I did see things. I told him if we get married, I am not going to sign anything because I dealt with an ex-husband that took me down financially. In 2009, he took me down $500,000 IRS bill. So I told Kevin, I was like, you need to form an LLC. You need to start paying your people appropriately. You need to blah, blah. And then fast forward, I love this man. Fast forward, I don't even get paid. So the takedown project is pay your taxes, pay your people appropriately. I worked a full-time job, sales professional. Look me up on LinkedIn. I work and I'm successful and I meet quotas. I'm a good human. Clearly I'm emotional.
So the
Clearly it's
takedown
suicidal.
project is
Pay your taxes.
your frustration over the way he's running his business.
Yeah. And
And
if you listen to the videos he provided, he's taunting me, he's laughing at me. I love what he provided to the courts. I love it. I love it.
So what about the comments, end your life and make your life a living hell? Any comment there?
And I don't even know where that came from, honestly. I provide context. A lot of things have been said out of emotion. The only end your life project I've had is I have felt suicidal over the last year or two with him because I did trust him. I did build his business. I didn't get paid for my time at his business. And on top of that, my business suffered and I've been so spread thin and I'm so tired and I'm not going to allow him to take me down. And there have been moments where I've drank too much and I have wanted to end my life. But I have children and I wake up in the morning and I'm not proud, but I'm tired. I'm tired of this. And
Let me ask you about
protect
when you think, when did this come to an end, do you think?
It's so confusing. He's such a master manipulator and it's like, and that's what's so confusing about him. He's like, I love you. And then he just, I don't have a date, but probably June.
And why do you say June? Why do you say probably June?
the actual end date where like it was done.
You think, yeah, what you think? Why do you say probably June?
I don't know. Personally, I was holding on to hope and lies and prayer. If I'm being logical and taking emotion out of it and trying to think like a judge, January.
And why do you think,
But
why do you
emotion-
say January? Why do you think?
Well, he decided to move all of my things, quote unquote, out of his home. And in the process, he selectively moved garbage into a storage unit that's totally inconvenient for me to access. And later I moved it. I'm like, at least I'd like to have my Christmas belongings in Tacoma. And as I was going through it, like, I don't even know what's in there. I have no clue, but I do know that he put Goodwill items and his kids' dirty, like just
So January,
middle
it's,
finger garbage in there.
okay, so January moves your things out into a storage unit or some stuff into a storage unit. Tells you that's where it is, but,
But then in February, he's contacting me from Thailand. He went to Thailand. When he went to Thailand, I didn't even know where he went. I'm trying to move on. I went to my own self-help situation, paid $8,000
so,
to
but then you
move
also
on.
said probably June. What does that mean? What did you hear or sense or something that says June
I
was
don't
the end of
know.
this?
I honestly don't have an end date with him. He'll probably be at my doorstep tomorrow.
Do you remember him at all? I mean, the statement, the testimony here was that he told you to stop.
I've told him to stop, and yeah, we've both
And you-
been,
To stop too.
and
Do you
I've
know
heard.
when that last was? When was the last time you told him to stop?
No, it's been, honestly, I don't. I'm busy. Like, I don't have Kevin's life. I mean, he works like 5 hours a week as a city inspector and has his haunted house business. I don't have time to record like he does and document and snippet stuff. I'm just living my life and surviving.
So do you think this filing of this request for an order, is that a pretty big stop?
Pardon me?
Is this filing of a request for a restraining order against you, would you consider that's a stop? Don't
Yes.
contact
Well,
me?
yes, and I thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I have no desire to have any contact with Kevin, no, ever again. You know that.
Has been
And
the
I
case
not want,
recent that
I don't want
like, didn't
anything.
need desire and yet there was contact?
Pardon me?
Has it happened in the recent past that you didn't have any desire to contact him and then the two of you are contacting each other again?
I think that's been mutual. No contact, no contact. Don't call me, don't call me. It's been so mutual. But 8/5, yeah, since January, I've not trusted a word he has said to me, but I still had feelings for him. So it was very complicated. And so I allowed him back into my life, even knowing it was a bad idea. And so there was mutual stop. But 8/5 for me is a hard stop. I don't want to be back in court regarding a protection order. I want no further contact with him. I will not contact him.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with him, and I plan on being paid and hopefully getting a few of my things. Like there's some personal, like something, like so many personal belongings that I will likely never, ever, ever get. That's very painful. So yeah, it's been
Let me see if Mr.
Right.
Cross particular questions to ask of Ms. Gray on behalf of his client.
Your Honor, we don't have any questions.
All right. Anything more, Ms. Gray?
no.
No. All right. Let me kind of look through a few things here and I'll tell you where we are. Okay, so Mr. Noah, Ms. Gray, I am finding that there is unlawful harassment that's been committed by Ms. Gray against Mr. Noah, meaning that I am issuing an order protecting Mr. Noah against Ms. Gray, and I'm finding that because it was I think, credible testimony that was there pretty firm not once, but more than once, but a firm time of telling to stop, not interested. Involvement by Ms. Gray when there were 80+ texts sent to Mr. Noah against his wishes that he didn't respond to, and then trying to entice family members, son, brother, ex-wife, into having contact with him. The repeated statements that ending your life, making your life a living hell, this takedown project, trying to enlist others. It's clear that Ms. Gray, you've committed unlawful harassment under the law against Mr. Noah, and so I'm issuing this order. Now, this order will be in effect for the next year, so through September 9th of next year. Mr. Noah has the opportunity to either let that expire naturally on the 9th of September of next year, or within 3 months of it expiring, sometime after the beginning of June, he can contact the court and ask the court to consider extending it for a longer period of time. And let Mr. Noah, Mr. Foster talk. To extend it for a further period of time, there would be a hearing. All the parties would be before the hearing. The burden of proof, as we call it, would then be on Ms. Gray to show that the harassment would not continue, and the court would make findings and determine should the order continue for longer. But at this stage, 1 year, and I'm looking at the petition, Mr. Foster, I'll turn to you. I'm looking at the petition as to the request. So as to the request of what the provisions of this order should be on behalf of your client.
Well, Your Honor, I was going to request if the court would consider extending it through November 1st of next year. I know obviously he can come and seek a renewal prior to next year's expiration that the court's established, but given that he does run the haunted house business, we'd ask the court to consider extending it through November 1st of next year. If he does renew it at that time, then he does, but just consider almost a year and a few months in terms of the duration of this.
Do you pass that that business that he's running, the obviously off after the Halloween period when that business is at its peak?
Correct.
Okay. Any other provisions here when I look at the petition that let me get to those pages.
Initially get petition through the end of.
There is no harm, no contact with Cody and Kyler, no stalking behavior, exclude and stay away from Mr. Noah, his residence, his workplace. Any changes to the requests, Mr. Foster?
As long as it has place of residence, place of employment, and business.
That's what was requested, workplace and residence.
And the haunted house business.
That seems to have some. I would do that. I don't know if there's an address or what, or a name of it, or.
Yeah, there is, it's 4-5.
Okay. And then Cody and Kyler, they're both still living in your residence, or at least partially.
Actually at college now.
They
In
both
Owens-
are?
Yeah,
You just dropped them off over the weekend.
Okay. So they do come to visit or stay.
correct.
All right. And they're members of your household then when they're not in college.
Yeah, at this point, yes, they can roam wherever they would please. They're adults.
Okay. So I will extend this out to that point, I think there's facts in this petition and in our testimony today. So out to November 1st, 2025. This will naturally expire on that day unless we have another hearing with everyone present and talk more about it, whether it will continue past that. The members of Mr. Noah's household, Cody and Kyler, are included here. Let me get to that. So, no harm, don't cause any physical bodily injury, assault, non-consensual sexual conduct, or sexual penetration, don't harass, threaten, or stalk Mr. Noah. Don't contact him through family, through friends, through social media in any way, indirectly through third parties in any way. And the members of his household, Cody and Kyler. And their last name is Noah, Mr. Noah,
Correct.
right? And no stalking
Default.
behavior, don't harass, follow, monitor, keep under physical or electronic surveillance, cyber harass, don't use phone, video, audio, or other electronic means to record, photograph, or track locations, digital, wire, electronic communication in any way of Mr. Noah and Cody and Kyler. And stay away, and you're excluded from being within 1,000 feet of Mr. Noah, Cody, and Kyler, knowingly being in 1,000 feet, his residence, workplace, and his other business located at 4548 Marvin Road, Southeast in Olympia. I think that covers the restrictions that have basis in our findings that I've made here. Anything else, Mr. Foster, on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And there is no requirement for Ms. Gray to be served notice of this order. She's here. But this will be available through the court. It'll be in the court file here, certainly by this afternoon or tomorrow, but it will be available at anyone's request.
May I
And you
ask
can,
a question?
sure, you can access the court's file on your own with your Zoom instructions. And Ms. Gray?
May I ask a question?
Right, Ms. Gray?
Okay. I just was wondering how I get protection, because I don't want him to contact my employer or my previous bosses or my, professional references or my friends or my family or my children. There's been constant contact. How do I protect myself?
The same way that Mr. Noah has requested.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. So that's it for this morning. As I said, this order will be in the court file for all of you to get access to. So Ms. Gray, you can be on your way. Mr. Foster, Mr. Noah
Thank you.
as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Your Honor. Take care.
Welcome.